You want to be taken somewhere. And the way you speak with us, I think we felt that. I don't know, you know what I mean? You feel like relaxed and confident. As far as the Danish, yeah, it was the first time, and so I was, when he comes down and says, what do I say? You know, it was the first scene we shot in Danish in the movie. When I run up and I'm worried and I say, Løjtnant Peter Luger, du skal ikke snakke med ham, og så videre, han er en svin, eller, and, you know, this guy's terrible. So I was more nervous than usual because I'd never done a scene on film or anything in Danish, and so it made me a little extra nervous. And then when he says, what do you say to them? I said, to who? He says, to the actors. I'm like, well, shit. Now I'm even, but it was what I think is great, and the way you speak about Timo and learning, the way you speak about Catriel, the sound guy, and learning, or the actors and learning. It's not like you're just sitting there doing it. You actually are guiding us in a very gentle way, in a very intelligent, like a encouraging way. You know, everybody. It was very much a family thing, and that's really smart, and it speaks to the way he is as an artist, which is he's not afraid to say, what do you say to the actors? He's not afraid to say, where does the light come from? You know, he's not afraid to say, I don't know, which is great. You save so much trouble that way in terms of communication. Scene in Danish in the first take especially, and but it was funny about the Danish language, I have to say, no offense, but when if you remember that scene at the end, this guy who works for Pitaluga is trying to distract me, and he says, yeah, your horse is ready, come on, and I'm like, torn between trying to keep her away from Pitaluga and this guy saying, your horse, Captain, your horse, yeah, and then I finally go, and I go up over the hill, and I go over the hill, and I'm thinking, like most actors, okay, how did that go just now? I think we said all the words, and it felt like we had a good, you know, connection. And so I guess Lisandro, I'm thinking he'll be happy when I come over the hill. You know, he'll be standing there smiling or something. Maybe I come over the hill and he's sitting facing the sea. He's sitting at the edge of the cliff, you know, like this. And I walk up and I look at the crew, and they're looking. No, he's not speaking. He's acting like Timo all of a sudden. And then he looks and sees me coming, and then he looks down again. He looks out to the ocean, you know, like that. And I'm like, oh fuck, something's wrong. So I come up and I go, so what do you think? What's wrong? And he says, I don't understand anything. I don't understand a fucking word of what you're saying. It's Danish. No, but I didn't expect that. I mean, nothing. It's just all unintelligible sounds. You know, I mean, he seemed to be very surprised that he thought he would understand. I said, did you like it? He says, well, I just don't know what you're talking about. Did you say what we wrote? Yes, we wouldn't do that to you. But you know, there's this openness. It's like, I don't know, or saying what's on your mind without being... There's a lot of directors, even great directors, who've been making many movies, who have this need, it's like an ego or an insecurity thing, to have you believe that they thought everything that you see on the screen was their idea, and it was planned, and they thought of everything. You know, it's not just men. Women directors I've been directed by who have this too. They're terrified that someone might make a suggestion or ask a question, because they might have to lie. And you know, instead of saying, I don't know, what do you think? They have to make up something. They try to avoid having questions be asked. They don't encourage questions at all, and they don't want you to, if anything, a journalist points out, yes, that bird that flew through the I put that there. I mean, seriously, you know, but he's the opposite of that, which I think is great.
Sweet guests, sweet audience, it's almost midnight, and the Cinemateket will turn into a pumpkin. But before we leave, I want to thank all three of you warmly, and I would like to end on the same note that we started, by talking about football. Because tomorrow at 4:45 we'll be screening Lisandro Alonso's film from 2008, a fantastic film called Liverpool. And there's still seats available for that. And I thought maybe, Viggo, since it's one of the films you saw before working together with Lisandro, would you like to say maybe 2 words about why people should spend time coming here tomorrow and not stay at home?
It's a beautiful movie to watch, and it has it doesn't have professional actors or actors that you would know or anything like that in it, because until that was his 4th movie, until JAUJA, as he said, he didn't work with professional actors. It's not shot by a European photographer, but it's shot in Patagonia, in the south part, not far from where the scene with Gita in the cave was shot, but in winter and really severe cold, and it's beautiful, and it has this beautiful rhythm. It's very measured. It's maybe not to everyone's taste, but neither is JAUJA, you know. It's really mesmerizing. It's like this movie, and it's a different kind of series of paintings, I would say, and it leaves you, like this movie does, I think, thinking, you know. And there's not many directors these days who make movies that leave you thinking, that leave you with that great question, which is, now what happens as you walk out of the theater, you know? And Liverpool does the same thing.
So I just want to make a toast with you. Thanks for that. And a skål, yes, many skål. No, and if I have the chance, I'm happy to be here at the Cinemateket. And I hope that if we are lucky, this is not going to be the first film that people from Latin America and Danish guys can make together. So I wish that. So that's.
Skål på det.
Skål.